about this technology.
Yes.
You've come across this. You've been looking at this just to see if it does work, just to see how something like this could be used.
Well, it's got all sorts of different applications. The one that caught our attention was the fact that it's just a normal regular phone, but as soon as you're in the vehicle and you go past 7 miles an hour, it is what they call iced, and you can't use it. It'll take messages and accept all that sort of thing, but you can't use it for outgoing calls or incoming calls.
So would you know if somebody was trying to contact you?
I'm not conversant with all the intricacies of it yet. They've literally just shown us this product, but it, for things like managing road risk for companies, tracking assets, tracking their drivers as they're going around and seeing what they're doing. It's an amazing piece of ingenuity.
Yes, because the tracking is part of it, isn't it?
Yes,
that's the other thing.
Yes.
You can see where people are, which I suppose there is that sort of software around in other guises already, isn't there?
There is, but that's more about vehicle tracking. This is more about the person, and I think part of their market is tracking individuals. So they've got one called Ubitrac for young students who are travelling abroad and want the security of a whole network, if you like, an alert centre where they can call in and get any assistance and help they need without having to go find the nearest embassy and that sort of thing. They have all of the capability and technology to contact those embassies for you. There's so much about the product. It's difficult to explain it all in just 5 minutes. But I think they've got a product called, or they're going to call it Silvertrack. So if you've got aging parents, they can carry one of these phones around, and you can just dip into the live on screen on your computer, log in, just have a look and see where they are, how they're getting on, that they're still moving, they're travelling around, perhaps on holiday somewhere, and it just gives you that confidence. There's another one called Lucaro for school. So if the school trip goes out, they can track that school trip, but so can all the parents. And watch how their children are enjoying their trip out. And it could be to a foreign country. On the serious side of it, their control centre tracks all world events. So if any of their assets, their phones, go near an area of danger, say an attack of some description on a building, that they can send messages to their phones and say, don't go near X, Y, and Z because this is happening. If there's a crash, say there's a bus goes out full of children, there's a bus crash nearby, they can set up an email system to the parents and back to the school saying your bus is not involved. That bus that is involved is 150 miles away and not a worry.
So some tracking has been available, but this seems to be taking it just another step, doesn't it? And using that information that's come in.
Absolutely. We've just literally logged onto your system in here. I have the phone in my pocket, and it's tracked me here.
Yes, and that's the thing. You don't just see where you are now. You can actually track your journey.
Yes.
So you can see where you've been, where you've come from, whether you got lost on the way.
Exactly, and speed and distance, everything, and it goes back in a calendar, so you can have a snapshot of a small piece of the journey or the whole of the journey.
So it's been this is a company in Lincolnshire.
Yes, it is.
And your interest as part of the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership, you said the first thing that got you interested was the fact that it would disable your mobile phone if you were driving.
Yes.
And so are you looking at that from the Road Safety Partnership thinking, well, that's just interesting? Or are you looking at it thinking, well, that, potentially that could be something you would start promoting to companies?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a second level there. There's initially for everybody to have this sort of technology on their phone to prevent them from using the phone. Speaking to the managing director, he said it's so relaxing being able to drive with your phone iced because you can just concentrate on your driving, and he sees the benefits of it now. The second part of it is, yes, the safety aspect of that 7 miles per hour, the phone is iced, but the second part is for companies that have to manage their operational road risk. Many of those have got things in place. They've written documents to say that they're going to manage how their drivers behave on the road. But this is a physical thing now. This makes it so much easier for companies to say, yes, I know that my drivers out there, my assets out on the road, are behaving correctly because I've got all of this data that shows me, and I know where they are all of the time. I know it feels like Big Brother, but any company would recognise time is money, and this certainly is.
Well, it's only one step up from the sign on the back of the thing saying, call this number, how's my driving, isn't it? It's giving you that immediate information about what somebody's doing.
I think as well, in terms of protecting the driver as well, because allegations against drivers about bad driving are, they're thick and fast, and companies have to deal with that, and they don't want their name smeared because of the driver's or allegedly bad behaviour. If they've got this type of technology on board, they can clearly vindicate the driver.
Right, stay with us. I want to ask some more questions about this in just a second. It's 3:20 on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. BBC. 3:22, William Rice on Drive Time, talking to John Siddle from the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership, because we're talking about this technology which is being developed in Lincolnshire, and it's up and running.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
In Lincolnshire, that will track your mobile phone. Well, we can't explain it all again because it does so many things. It'll track where people are using the mobile phone. It'll also make their mobile phone not work if they're in a vehicle and it's going more than 7 miles an hour. And I suppose the 7 miles an hour thing is partly because they can see if a phone is moving.
Yes.
So it has to go.
It can. They do a 3-step isolation. So if you're a passenger in a vehicle, you can isolate it, and the ICE doesn't work. But
that's what I was going to ask. Surely, if it's something that's on your phone that stops your phone working, you could turn that off.
Yes, you can, but it's a very precise set procedure to do it. So you have to do 3 steps to turn that ICE off, which is a very conscious decision. So you can't turn it off accidentally. And if you're an employee and you turn that off, you'd never get away with, it turned itself off. Every time you turn the phone back on, from overnight, whatever it is, you turn the phone back on, it latches straight on again. You can isolate it for an hour, so it's disengaged for an hour. After that, it'll come back.
And I think and I think if you were running a company and you did this to the work phones, it would also send you a message if somebody did disable it.
It does. Yes.
So you can't do that.
As soon as you make those movements on the phone, or those decisions on the phone, yes, they're emailed back, and then quite simply you call that phone and say, please turn the ICE system back on.
All right, this is all a company in Lincolnshire. We need to get them on because we've got you doing the salesman pitch, and we haven't got them on the phone. But the reason that you're looking at it as part of the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership, what will you do? What are you going to do with everything you now know about this system?
Well, we're just looking at the product. There's so many, like I said before, there's so many facets to it. But for us, the safety side of it, certainly the icing of the phone for unusable phone in a car, that's great for us. The manage and operational road risk, I think what we want to do now is highlight to companies out there that this product is around, and this, we're not here to promote somebody else's product, but we certainly can give a testimonial about it and endorse it. We've got one of the phones. We're looking at all of the software and seeing how it works and how usable it actually is. It's looking very good at the moment.
So potentially, if you keep playing with it and you keep understanding what it can and can't do, potentially, what would you do? I mean, you say you wouldn't promote somebody's product, but would you suggest to companies in Lincolnshire that this
absolutely.
Is
I mean, we always suggest a company or anybody out there who asks us a question, we try to give them the best possible answer. If this is the best possible answer for the problem they have with their vehicles out on the road, then we will support this product and say yes, this is the type of thing you need to move forward.
Yeah, young drivers, parents.
Oh yes. This is certainly, for insurance companies, knowing that not only can they look at a young driver's record, but the parents will look at it as well. So, the phone can have a system where it's geo-fenced, so it's not allowed to go near an area. So if for some reason the insurance company says, no, you will not be driving around the M25, you're too young, and we'll give you a reduction in insurance for that, then they can set up a geofence around the M25. If that phone goes near the M25, a signal comes back, it's there. Send another message to the phone saying, turn around, come back, and you're not supposed to be near the M25.
Yeah. Do you like all this technology? Because I can tell you're quite excited by all this. I mean, I find it fascinating. I think it's great, if you can use technology to solve some of these problems and to make things
We've
safer.
talked about this for a long time, about immobilising people's phones when they get into a car. Make a car switch off the phone or inhibit the phone in some way. What this company's done is actually made the phone do it itself, which nobody suggested before.
So not another thing, not a blocker in the car,
no,
but the phone
because
itself.
that would block all phones.
Yeah.
This, if you're a passenger, you can de-ice the phone and use it as normal, but then you've got to admit that you're a passenger in that car, not a driver. And I think evidentially, if it was found that you were the driver and you had the phone set as passenger, that's a very conscious act to do. So that could be a whole lot of trouble, certainly from the company, but from perhaps a police investigation would put you in a very bad light.
So how much more testing are you going to do?
Well, we're not testing the product. I think the company is testing it quite thoroughly. We're just trying to gain as much information from it, just knowledge really about it.
And are you feeding stuff back to them as well? Are they interested in?
Yeah, we're talking to each other and trying to understand it, or certainly for us to understand it a little better. And again, it's just another one of those things that we can recommend to members of the public who have no other avenue. They're looking for something but don't know where to go. So if we can say, yep, that's something we know about, we understand it, it fits your needs, why not?
Very interesting. Thanks for telling us about it. And we're still logged onto your system, so I think we can track you now.
Probably.
For the next week or so, see where you go. Very good. Thank you very much. John Siddle from the Lincolnshire Road Safety Partnership. It's 3:28. More news next.